Hello, everyone. We are so excited to have this opportunity to present to you all today. My name is Nicole Dodier. I am an interior designer at ZGF Architects, and I'm going to be talking about how to help find mentors as you start your career alongside Alex. So I'm going to let Alex introduce himself before we get kicked into it.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alex Berry. I'm a transplant to the Oregon area, and I work for Intel as a technical program manager, as well as I'm a small business owner. And I am so excited to talk with you all today about not just mentoring, but also some really tactical tips about how you can find mentors within your career. And so, Nicole, what are we really going to dive into today?
So today we're gonna first start off with just talking about what are mentors and why are they important in our lives. And then we're gonna touch on a few different types of mentors that we may come across in our different stages of life in our path. And we'll break down kind of what those different people will mean at those different stages of our lives. So without further ado, I think let's kick into it and talk about what are mentors.
No, definitely agree. So when we think of mentors, there's really three things I want you to kind of keep in your minds. First, mentors are experienced and trusted advisors. They've been to places that you want to go, and they tend to have a reputation and a skill set that you really admire. Second, they are the guides who walk with us on our journeys to our goals. They can make the journey easier, but they can't carry us the whole way. I know that I've had mentors that have helped me both personally with my relationships, with decisions for my family, or especially in COVID, some really, really tough life decisions. But I've also had those professional mentors, people who have helped me with in my academic and professional career, people who have helped me become an engineer, people who kept me in school when I thought I might want to drop out. And the third thing I want you to keep in your mind is that mentors help us to fill in our knowledge gaps, right? Your job is not to be a know-it-all, but you do want to be someone who's willing to go and to learn all the different things you need for your goals. What mentors help you do is to accelerate your learning. So with that, I really want us to go and kind of turn it over to Nicole to talk about how are we going to conceptualize the different types of mentors that we might have?
Yes. So I think really the bulk of our discussion today is going to be about these different types. So we want to start with talking about the team of mentors that we're building. And so we have this image here to talk about the analogy of a sports team or a basketball team. And I am no sports expert, so I'm not going to pretend. But just in the same way that each player on a team has a unique skill set that they bring to the group that helps to create that elite team, your mentors also contribute to your life in different ways and help you sort of grow and can advise you in different areas of your life. So these mentors might help you to navigate both your educational journey or your career path, as Alex was just talking about, but there are also mentors who can help you to develop personally and help you become more self-aware and on just your personal journey as a human being. And so we're going to talk about all those different types and why it's important to have diversity in this different team of mentors. So with that being said, let's hop into the first type of mentor, which is your partner in crime.
Yes, and I love the partner in crime mentor. But as a quick disclaimer, Nicole and I are not telling you all to go and find a person to rob a bank with or go set fires or anything crazy like that.
Don't do that.
Oh my gosh. Really, your partner in crime, this is your bestie, right? This is that person who is always there to go and to listen when you have an open ear, or who's always there to offer an open ear. And specifically, this is really the person who tends to be, that study partner, that teammate, that person that you can really experiment with. I know that a lot of my partner in crimes, both in my professional career as well as my high school career, they were really the people who I said, hey, I have this big crazy idea. And they would say, can I join? These were the people who we would sometimes pull pranks with, but they were also the people who I might start businesses with, or who I might do a really big volunteer initiative with. Now, as great as your partner in crimes are, they are, again, they're your cheerleaders. They're in many cases your advocates. Sometimes you need someone who's maybe a little bit more experienced than you, someone who can help you maybe master your craft a little bit and not just experiment. And for that, mentor, I'm going to turn it actually back over to Nicole.
Yes. So the master of your craft is a really important mentor. This is essentially a really seasoned advisor or teacher, someone who has a wealth of experiences and knowledge that they can help to pass on to you to sort of fill in the gaps where you may be lacking, especially as we're younger and we're sort of growing. No one expects us to know everything. There's no way to know, what to do when you haven't experienced something before, but that's where your master of craft comes in hand to really teach you about things in your career path or personal journey that you may need assistance with. So just in the same way that Serena can be a great mentor to Naomi Osaka because she has achieved a lot of the things that Naomi is working towards and is really that established tennis player that Naomi is, on the journey to being. This is the same type of mentor that you may find in your journey. So say you want to major in graphic design at the University of Oregon, you may seek out a mentor who is currently a graphic design student in that program to learn about what their experience is like being in that program, what type of skills you may need to have to apply for that program, and really learn about what things you can do today to prepare for that major in the future. So the master of the craft is going to really give you that advice to help you on your path to establishing yourself. But another important mentor that's also going to help you down the path and get those opportunities into that career path is going to be your champion. So I'm going to turn it over to Alex to talk about that.
And I absolutely love the champion mentor because this is your biggest cheerleader, right? They are the folks where, especially in your high school life, they are not just giving you advice, but they are helping you to go and to sort of rise above what you think that you can do. When I go and I think about the champion, this tends to be someone who is not just looking at who you are now, but they are looking at your potential. I remember when I was in high school, I was maybe not doing so hot in a calculus class and actually kind of failing my calculus class, and I went to be an engineer. So my science teacher, my biology teacher, my math teacher would pull me aside and say, I know you can do better. And they would encourage me to put in a little bit more time. They would encourage me to see beyond my C's or my F's, and they would encourage me to actually go farther to actually go on and become an engineer. The other thing that's really important about your mentors is that because they're seeing in your potential, they're oftentimes connecting you with people or with opportunities that you might think are a little too soon for you. I know many of my mentors encouraged me to apply to scholarships that let me travel around the world at a really young age that I would have never found or even thought about that opportunity for myself. Now, as much as I love the champion, and I do, and the belief that they have in you, sometimes we also need those people who maybe help keep us a little bit rooted. And so for that, I'm actually going to go and turn it over to Nicole to introduce the anchor mentor.
Yes. So I would actually argue that the anchor is possibly one of the most important mentors because this is really your backbone. This is the person who's going to pick you up after you've failed. The anchor is really a trusted source you can learn, who you can lean on in times of adversity or when you need help getting out of a really difficult time. So for myself, my father has been my anchor in many ways. When I was in college and I realized that I had spent 2 years in the business program and I really was not interested in pursuing a career in business and I was afraid about what I would do next, I leaned on my dad to look for advice. I was afraid to start over and switch my major halfway through my undergraduate journey. But he really reassured me that it was okay to start over and that he would, provide full support in whatever I needed on this path to start over. And I'm so glad that I had my anchor because without him really encouraging me to move forward and to trust myself and what I was going to do next, I may not be the designer that I am today had I not had that reassurance to really continue down that path. So whether you're struggling with the class or you didn't get the job that you wanted, your anchor is going to help pick you up and see the light at the end of the tunnel and really reassure you that everything is going to be okay. And alongside your anchor and your backbone, it's also important to have a devil's advocate to help you see both sides of every situation. So Alex is going to talk a little bit more about that mentor type.
And to round out our team of mentors, as Nicole said, we have a devil's advocate. This is not necessarily always people's favorite mentor, but I promise you it's a mentor you need to go and have on your team, because this is the person who keeps it real, who keeps it 100, whether or not you want to hear it. They tend to be known for giving you that much needed tough love to kind of push you in the right direction. And oftentimes they sometimes come off as maybe not always constructive, and they do tend to be maybe a little bit more critical than your champion or than your partner in crime. However, where I have found mentors to be really, really valuable is when I'm preparing to go to take on a new and a bigger leadership experience, or to take on a new challenge, and I need that critical feedback. I remember being in college where I had lots of big and crazy ideas that I want to go and to pursue through the student government. And it was actually my devil's advocates who I would prepare for, right? Before I went to the adults and tried to pitch $1 million idea, I had to get it through my devil's advocate. So the hours that I went and I spent with them helped me be so much more successful, and maybe whittle down some of my bigger and crazier ideas to things that were just as ambitious, but were a lot more purposeful and meaningful. So again, I really appreciate the devil's advocate, though sometimes we do kind of butt heads. But as we go and we kind of transition to a recap, I want Nicole, could you maybe talk a little bit about where did you start? Where do you start in finding mentors?
Yeah. Well, I hope that what we have helped you all to realize throughout this discussion is that many of you already have tons of mentors in your lives. You may not have thought about your coach or your parent or your teacher as a mentor, but you have tons of mentors currently, and it's important to nourish those relationships. But if you would like to seek new mentors, maybe in certain other areas that you are lacking, here's a few things that you can do today. We're still in a pandemic, so that has its challenges, but you can always invite people out to a virtual coffee or chat. Maybe you see someone on LinkedIn that is a student at the university you want to attend in the major program that you want to apply for. You could reach out to that person and say, hey, I would love to be in this program in the future. Would you have any time to sit down and tell me a little bit about your journey getting into the graphic design program, and what tips you might have for a student like me? So inviting people out to those coffee and chats and asking them some of those questions are helpful. Also, you can think about joining clubs at your school, whether that be a club, a student organization, say a Black Student Union or a Latino network, or even a sports club. Your champion might be your soccer coach. Eventually, your partner in crime may be somebody that you meet at the National Honor Society meeting. So looking towards those clubs at your school are really great ways to meet different mentors. And then lastly, I would encourage you all to attend whatever events you may be able to, whether in person or virtually still. Portland Workforce Alliance is putting on tons of different career programs throughout the year, whether it's today's expo or future events. These are great places to meet people in a variety of different career fields. And I would encourage you all to follow up with speakers, especially if they offer their contact information or really want you to reach out. Follow up and say, hey, I really enjoyed the talk that you gave on mentorship, Alex. Could you tell me a little bit more about your career at Intel? I'm really interested in being a software engineer, and I'd love to know a little bit more about what you do. So it's really kind of important to follow up when people provide you with the opportunity if you're interested. So with that, I think we're going to kind of wrap it up and talk about what our key takeaways are for today.
Yes, and if you remember nothing else from this conversation, we want you to just remember just these 5 things. First and foremost, mentoring is a two-way relationship. That means that you have things that you're going to want to gain from your mentors, but you also have things to give. Maybe it's your time, maybe it's your effort, maybe it's your energy, maybe it's just being a willing vessel who wants to go and to learn from these awesome people in your lives. Second, mentors are your life guides. That means that there's the professional piece of that, and there can also be a personal piece. Not every mentor is going to be able to be everything to you, which is why we recommend having that team of mentors. Third, diverse mentors are going to equal those diverse opportunities. I was lucky enough to be able to get exposed to 10 different scholarships while I was an undergrad. And those scholarships actually came from maybe 5 or 6 different mentors. Without that exposure, I would have never been able to go and to pay and to fund for that much of my academic experience. Fourth, your goals in terms of like what you want to do and where you think you want to go, plus your gaps, whether those are gaps in experience, gaps in skills, or gaps in resources. I want you to figure that piece out first to help you to understand who do you need to be your mentor and what do you want to ask them to help you with. 5, your mentors are there. They are around you and they're willing to help. But for most of them, they're going to ask you to do a little bit of work, and that work is really you being intentional and going to find them. Just like Nicole said, they want you to reach out to them. They want you to ask about their amazing careers as interior designers. And they want you to they want to be able to help you in bridging that gap between where you are now and where you want to go. And so with that, we are both of us, both myself and Nicole, are super happy to be having this chat with y'all today. We want to know how we can help you on your mentoring journeys and how, if there's anything that we can do, whether within our networks or within our capacities, please feel free to reach out to us. Nicole, is there anything else we missed?
Nope, I think you covered it all. We hope that mentoring feels like something that you're not as afraid to approach now. And we hope that you get out there and meet new people and really establish those relationships to help you on your journey. And with that, we hope that you reach out and follow up with us. Thank you, everyone.
Have a wonderful rest of your day.